Haji, we have one person we can invite before lunch. Then we'll just have a working lunch where you can bring your plates and just eat, and then we'll continue this. So I'll invite Dr. Sardar Amir Daud Khan to please come to the podium. We have about 5 to 7 minutes.
I think the first thing I would like to say that we are, this group of people are really a blessed people, that God gave us a brain, God gave us a courage to work hard and come this far. So it has been really wonderful journey. I came from background in which really we were not a kind of educated type of people. My father, he was like a Sardar of the family, and he always thought that I should become a deputy commissioner, I should become an SP or something like that, or run the business. But I think maybe by accident I became a doctor. So anyway, even from my childhood, I remember I was maybe 14 or 15 years old. He put me with his secretary and accountant. So I used to count everything because he had a bus company. He has about 40, 50 buses. So I used to count 3 plus 20 plus 5 plus, all the accounting I used to do it. Then before I went to medical school, one day I was sitting in the office, and there's one guy comes and he says that, I want to get some business from your father. I said, what business? He has about 30, 40 buses, so he said, I want to get an insurance business from your father. And I said, no, you don't have to talk to my father, you can talk to me. And I was hardly about maybe 15, 16 years old. And he said, what you can do? I said, if you become a branch manager of Asian Mutual Insurance Company, I can get you all the business. I said, well, that's a pretty good deal. He made me a branch manager of Asian Mutual Insurance Company of the district of Saiwal. Then I found a friend with whom I can say, okay, you do all my business, you get 50% and I'll get 50%. So I started making some good money. Then one day a guy come from Karachi, and he said, I want to do some business with your father. I said, what business? He said, you have got a lot of these buses and the trucks and all that, and I want to sell all the oil. And I said, no, you don't have to talk to him, you can talk to me. And he said, okay. I said, I don't have enough money. I didn't want to ask my father for money. So I said, if you can work out something, credit line, that you send me the oil from Karachi, I will sell it and send you the money. So I start selling oil, okay? And honestly, I was making pretty good money from my oil business. And I hired a couple of guys who will just sell it and all that. And when I was in medical school, maybe many people didn't know what the heck I was doing, apart from my medical student. I started a business in which we were selling all the different parts of the buses. So I created some contact in Lahore that I used to get all the parts, send it to Saiwal, and in those days, even from my oil business and manager of the insurance company, I was making about 3,000-4,000 rupees a month. And financially, I was kind of doing better life than many of my class fellows. So anyway, This had been honestly wonderful journey. And when let me call you right back.
सरदार अमीर दूध खान अभी कुछ बिजनेस डील कर रहे हैं तो आप थोड़ी देर इंतजार कीजिए.
Yeah, okay, I'll call you right back. You know, that business sense my father put in my mind when I came over here, the first thing I did, I started a mutual fund company. And I ran that company for about 7-8 years, then I sold it. Then I started doing another job, which is like a PPO. I had about 5,000, 6,000 physicians in my network, and I have about 60, 70 hospitals in my network. Finally, I sold that company to another big company. Then I came up with some different idea that I had some contact in Pakistan, and I set up a hydrogen peroxide plant. That was built in near Islamabad. Unfortunately, what happened that the company with whom I was working with, they were from China, and there was some defective technology. The project was about $20 million project. So one smart thing I did that in in Houston, when I was making the contract, I said all the arbitration has to take place in Houston. So the project didn't work because of the defective technology from China. So we put a lawsuit against this Chinese company. And I won that lawsuit for about $10 million. Then what happened, the Chinese are really...
Bashir, here's your legacy money right here.
Okay. I'm telling you that I was really a sort of a businessman, and that gene which he put into my mind that kept on going.
Oh, genes are transmitted totally differently.
Okay. So anyway, what happened that the project didn't work, but I had that clause in the contract, and with that clause I put a lawsuit. Once I put a lawsuit, I got $10 million from the lawsuit. The Chinese went to Nawaz Sharif government, and they made some deal that Dr. Khan, who was the chairman of the company, they canceled all his shares, cancel all his everything. So my law firm in Houston, they, instead of making continuing working with me, they jumped the gun and they started made a deal with the Chinese because they were getting about 30% out of it. So they got about $3 million from the Chinese, and I was thrown out. Then I said, okay, let me do something different.
We don't have lunch, and then
Okay,
if you want to keep on talking, that's
no,
fine.
just a couple of minutes. I want to tell you that how my life has been a little bit different than many of you guys. So I put a lawsuit against the legal firm. And when I put a lawsuit against the legal firm, it just works out as if you are putting a lawsuit against a physician. So it works almost the same way. So I made pretty good money from that insurance, whatever the insurance they had. I think they have about $5 million of insurance. So I got that. So it has been really kind of a little bit different than just doing the medical practice. And I think it worked out pretty good for me. So life has been really good in Houston, and I'm really glad and blessed that we have come so far.
Thank you, Dr. Daud. We are going to have lunch now, so if everybody would just go and bring their plates and come back, and we'll continue. Assalamu alaikum. We'll resume our program, and I'll invite Dr. Khalid Riaz. Dr. Khalid Riaz. Dr. Khalid Riaz.
Dr. Khalid Riaz is talking to somebody else, so we'll invite the second person.
No, Khalid Riaz is coming. Zara slow hai gaya, koi gal nahi.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. So I had not volunteered for this.
Oh, yes, you have. You did. Okay, then we can give it to somebody else. Really, he did.
मेरे नाल कोई चक्कर हो गया. Okay. Anyway, you know, I had actually thought that this time I'll just sit and listen. Usually I talk too much, and maybe it's time for me to start listening. So that's why I did not volunteer. And as I listened to all the stories, ਤੇ ਇਹ ਤਾਂ ਮੇਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਵੀ ਹੋਇਆ ਸੀ. ਅੱਛਾ ਮੇਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਵੀ ਇਦਾਂ ਹੀ ਹੋਇਆ ਸੀ. So I think looks like you are all living my life. So thank you very much for that. You know, since I hadn't thought about it, so I'll just ramble on for a few minutes, and when the time comes for me to stop, just tell me.
I will.
So I was born in a very small village, about 20 households. I was just sitting there counting when somebody said I was born in a small village, just 1,000 households. ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਘਰਾਂ ਦੇ ਘਰ ਗਿਣਨੇ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕੀਤੇ ਤੇ ਕੋਈ 20 ਤੱਕ ਮੈਂ ਪਹੁੰਚਿਆ ਸੀ, ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਅੱਗੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਨਹੀਂ ਮਿਲਿਆ ਕੋਈ. But I also looked at it that all of us were related within 2 generations. You know, we were all just same tribe, same family. ਸਾਡਾ ਦਾਦਾ ਪੜਦਾਦਾ ਉੱਥੇ ਕਰੇ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਲੜ ਭਿੜ ਕੇ ਆ ਗਏ ਜਾਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਤੋਂ ਮੁੜ ਕੇ ਇੱਥੇ ਆ ਕੇ ਸੈਟਲ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ. I went to the village school for a few days. ਉੱਥੇ ਮੈਂ ਗਿਆ ਤੇ ਇੱਕ ਬੱਚੇ ਨੂੰ ਮੁਰਗਾ ਬਣਾ ਵੇਖਿਆ. ਉਸਤਾਦ ਨੇ ਕੁੱਕੜ ਬਣ ਜਾ, ਉਹ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਕੋਨੇ 'ਚ ਖੜਾ ਹੋ ਕੇ ਤੇ ਕੁੱਕੜ ਬਣ ਗਿਆ. ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਮੈਂ ਤੇ ਇੱਥੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਪੜ੍ਹਨਾ. So I ran out of there. So I was sitting playing in the fields. Between our village and the school, there were lots of fields. One day, and I should also tell, मेरी दादी अम्मी मैंने स्कूल छोड़ के आई सी नाल घरे च हम साया दे घर बैठे हुए सी कि मेरा पोतरा स्कूल गया इस वापस घर भी गिन के वैसा. Anyway, so I got to the home before she did. So उत्थे मैं खेड रहा हूँ तो वेख्या दूरों you know 2 बंदे आ रहे हैं, सफ़ेद चादर सफ़ेद कमीज़, you know, taller than me, and they came straight for me. कि तू खालिद है? मैं कहा जी. So then he says, तेरे अब्बा किथे? मैं कहा वो तो बंगाल गए हो इन. वापस कदों आसन? बुध वाले दिहाड़े. I didn't realize it was both that day. So, अच्छा. So he picked me up and said कि मैं को रहा. I looked at him. I only knew my mamus and chachas, and he wasn't any one of them. मैं तू मेरा मामा. So you know he said नहीं मैं तेरा अब्बा. He had come back from Bengal. I did not know. I hadn't seen him before that because he was in the army. And so he picked me up, brought me to the house, and he announced to the family that I'm taking my wife and my son with me to the city. So that kind of created a havoc in the household because my mother used to do all the housework at home. You know, there was an elder daughter-in-law, but she was elder daughter-in-law, and the mother-in-law was my mother's pupo. So my mother-in-law was kind of the one who kept the house. Sorry, my mother was the one who kept the house. Now, her leaving the house would mean everybody else will have to work. We didn't have any servants. We lived in a village home. That's a whole different story of what life used to be, the beautiful life of a village. So Abbaji brought me to Rawalpindi, got himself transferred to ISPR. He always had a 2-way career in army. He was in the infantry. Whenever there was need of a battle, he was in the infantry fighting on the border. And when there was peace, he ended up in the ISPR. And he ran there, what used to be what is nowadays called the media section, but he was in charge of the photography section in ISPR. So he took me to school. So nationalist that he was, Sir Syed School had just opened their first school in Rawalpindi. So he took me there for admission, and they looked at my date of birth, which somebody was telling how they were a year older, which makes them an outlier. So my date of birth, they looked at it and said, oh, no, he's too old. He cannot be admitted to school, our school. I was just old by a few months from that limit. Now imagine the strategy of a country with a literacy rate of 15%, not taking in somebody into school. He can't be admitted. He's 1 month too old. So how will the literacy rate go up? But it doesn't matter. The British rule was this is the age for admission. So he took me back home. He got one of my cousins to start tutoring me at home. I'm just going to tell a few of these things, so please just stop me whenever you want me to. And because I'm just rambling on. So I came home. I was home tutored for a few months. Then Abbaji took me back and said, to see the imtihan le lo. So they took my test. I passed the test, but they said, umar da sawal to hai hi ala. So oda ki kariye. I'm sure they were speaking English because this was Sir Syed School. But anyway, so they said, ji, aap inke date of birth change kar dein. So jhoot bol lo, lekin assi dakhil nahi karange. So I got admitted to Sir Syed School. My roll number was 196. I still remember. I was the 196th student to enroll in Sir Syed School in Rawalpindi, which some of you might be familiar with. Now it's a Sir Syed College. So they, Abbaji tried to do some calculations and change my date of birth by 1 year. In the calculation, a couple of days got messed up too. So now I have 2 dates of birth. That's been lots of fun at work because I go in and they have all these things. Happy birthday, Dr. Riaz. And so that's not my birthday. That's the fake one. So if they think of the other one, I go in, oh, that's not my birthday. So I always keep them confused as to which one is my real birthday. But that's fun. Even my family and my kids get confused. Okay, good. Anyway, so from there on, I went to 5 different schools before my matric exam because Abbaji would get transferred. Khatam kar de?
It's okay. It's okay.
Okay. Okay. Baba di thapkiyan jadiyan na badi mane khez honi yaar. So anyway.
Minute and a half.
अजय ते मैं ऐसे हाथ रखे जो थले गया
Anyway, so after 5 different schools, I finally did my matric from Peshawar. And then I came to Gordon College. And then I ended up in Lahore just before the 65 war. And then I ended up gay with all of you. My roommates, we had a very interesting combination in our room. First of all, we had, I think, the second highest marks taker, not me, in the board, and that was Saeed Anwar. After, I think Burewala was very on the top that year. So after Inam, Saeed Anwar, I think, was second or third highest. Second highest, yeah. So Saeed Anwar, then there was Ijaz Qayyum, then there was Munir Ahmed, my Gordon College classmate. We were never friends at that time because, you know, he came from the English-speaking group, and although I went to English medium school, yeah, I was. Plus, he was too studious, and he would be studying, and we would really botheration for him. There's a little story about that I'll tell if you like allow me to, but quickly, and then Saeed Anwar. I'll just tell 2 short stories and then I'll stop here because all the other stories you have all told. So one day Saeed Anwar says, you know what, I think I'll train you all to be boxers. So now, Saeed Anwar was a bodybuilder also. He probably still is. He looks pretty good. And he chose me to be the person he's going to train. Now, I was even thinner than this at that time. I think I weighed about 140 pounds, just like after my COVID. मैं ਉਹਨੂੰ ਪਹਿਲੇ ਤਾਂ ਕਾਫੀ ਸਮਝਾਉਣ ਦੀ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕੀਤੀ ਕਿ ਯਾਰ ਮੈਂ ਤਾਂ ਤੂੰ ਕਿੱਥੇ ਬਾਕਸਿੰਗ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਇਹ ਬੜੀ ਆਸਾਨ ਗੱਲ ਹੈ ਸੋ ਅਸੀਂ ਤੇ ਦੋ ਇੱਕ ਗਲਵਸ ਪਾ ਕੇ so suddenly something came here and I went flying backwards on my back on the floor. I think that taught him a lesson.
ਫੜ ਕੇ ਮਾਰੀਏ ਹੁਣ ਕਿੱਥੇ ਗਿਆ
So that taught him a lesson never so that he never tried to box with me again. मैं कहते मर गया तो मैं क्या करूँगा. So that was one story. The other story was that at night time, when some of the, especially Munir, were studying, थोड़ी देर बाद अच्छा बड़े परेशान के भी ये क्यों हो रहा तो ठा क्यों हो रही है साड़ा बेचारा इतना पढ़ाकू बंदा पढ़ नहीं सकता. So we all went up to the room above us. I think Rashid, you were in that room. And who else was your roommate? ਉੱਥੇ ਤਾਸ਼ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਸੀ ਰਾਤੀ ਇਹ ਜੇ ਠੱਪ ਮਾਰਦੇ ਸੀ ਨਾ ਤੇ ਨਾਲ ਪੈਰ ਮਾਰਦੇ ਸੀ. And to the point that, it really was very disturbing. We couldn't sleep. Those of us who wanted to sleep, we couldn't study. Those who wanted to study. So we said, how do we, ਸਮਝਾਉਣ ਦੀ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕੀਤੀ. But they weren't listening. ਕਿ ਨਹੀਂ ਯਾਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਤਾਂ ਤਾਸ਼ ਖੇਡਣੀ ਹੈ. So then we came down and we had a conference and we decided what to do. ਅਸੀਂ ਦੋ ਚਾਰਪਾਈਆਂ ਖੜੇ ਕੀਤੀਆਂ ਕੋਨੇ 'ਚ ਕਮਰੇ ਦੇ. So we could reach the ceiling. ਕਾਫੀ ਉੱਚੀ ਛੱਤ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਸੀ ਬਰੂਮ ਹੋਸਟਲ ਦੀ. And then we took apart one of the skeletons that we had in the room, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸਾਡਾ ਪੜਾਕੂ ਬੰਦਾ ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਪੜਦਾ ਸੀ. ਉਹਦੀ ਲੌਂਗ ਬੋਨਸ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਬਹਿ ਗਏ ਉੱਤੇ ਚੜ੍ਹ ਕੇ ਚਾਰਪਾਈਆਂ ਤੇ ਠਾ. And we went on non-stop till the entire broom also gathered in front of our room. And so, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਤੰਗ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ ਪੜ੍ਹਨ ਨਹੀਂ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਮੈਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਯਾਰ ਉਹ ਪਹਿਲੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੁਛ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਮਨਾ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ ਅਸੀਂ ਤਾਂ ਵਿਚਾਰੇ ਰਿਐਕਸ਼ਨਰੀ ਤੌਰ ਤੇ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ. So anyway, so the elders of the Broom Hostel came and they negotiated a peace treaty between the two rooms and we tea house ke park tea house they took us to one of the tea houses. We sat down, we had tea and we settled and became friends and we agreed to terms of how often you can take the floor. Thank you.
ਇਹਨੂੰ ਮੈਂ ਹੁਣ ਥੱਲੇ ਕਰ ਲਾਂ. एक शेर सुनिए इसके बाद. तू अकेला है बंद है कमरा अब तो चेहरा उतार के रख दे. तो अगले जिस दोस्त को मैं दावत दे रहा हूँ वो आसमान से गिरे और सियालकोट में पैदा हुए. वहाँ से निकले तो लॉन्ग आइलैंड में आ बसे. उनकी सबसे बड़ी खासियत यह है कि कार ऐसे चलाते हैं जैसे मौत का कुआं. भाभी गल सही है कि नहीं? कितने गए भाभी? सही है ना गल? आप भी आ जाइए. ब्रैश क्विक विट, वही तीर जैसी दिल से जिगर तक छेद करने वाली नज़र. बंदा सोचता ही रहता है कि मैं ना होया की है. और कारआमद ऐसे कि रियूनियन में जितने भी लजीज खाने आपने खाए हैं या खाएंगे वो इस बंदे की कोशिशों का नतीजा है. तो अपने अपने पेट बजाकर इनकी स्वागत करें.
ठीक है आ जाए अगर हिम्मत है तो आ जाए. while she's coming, let me tell you why I'm here. I was not planning to come because I had not given my name. However, I came here to set the record straight because I can't stand when there are half-truths to the point there are lies. Right now, everybody who has spoken up to this time, they have created a darling of class of 70, Sultan Akbar Hayat. I can't stand that. Either there are two Sultan Akbar Hayat, or the one I know, he may be somewhere else. Yes, everybody,
He cannot stand it either.
yeah, it's unbelievable. This has been the Sultan Akbar Hayat party or roast or his show. In all honesty, yes, yes, indeed I am. But as a matter of fact, I have so many stories from 65 to 70 because the life in the hostel and with the friends, they are full of unbelievable incidents. However, I'm not going to go into that, and I will tell you, we have comedies and I have horror stories. And no, I will tell you a horror story because that pertains to one of the participants in that is Sultan Akbar Hayat. Yes. Yeah. No. No, that will be no fun. Because I can't stand your comments on WhatsApp. Honestly, yeah, I have to. Dr. Yunus is sitting here, so I cannot lie. Yes.
And I know it's very hard for Rashid not to lie.
Yes. In any event, there was everybody knows, I think Zia is not here. He knows this firsthand. He tried to stop me. There was a drug exhibition, and we had just graduated, and some of you had left for US. I didn't take the ECFMG because I was not pertaining to come to US or do anything. I was enjoying my life there. And Zia was insisting upon me, listen, this is the ticket to the riches. You gotta do ECFMG. You gotta do ECFMG. And I was fed up with that speech. In any event, there was a drug exhibition and a dinner with a musical party, Amanat Hussain, very famous singer. So they said that all the young physicians are not allowed to have meal and participate in the music. So a couple of guys from the hostel came to me. One of them his name was already evoked, may God bless his soul, Ijaz Adu. He was 6 feet, 6 inches, broad shoulder, and everybody used to scare of him. Naeem Parvez will witness to that. He came, Nasir Baz came, and a couple of other guys. I don't think Sultan was there, but he may have been. But so we decided, they came to me that let's go and protest there. It was in Intercontinental Hotel. All the senior doctors are there. They are enjoying a fabulous meal and a music party. So we walked down from Broome Hostel to Intercontinental, and now there is a guard, so you have to go in. And they had restricted the young physicians. The young physicians, because we don't write scripts. So the drug rep, they were not interested in us. They were interested in the bigwigs. So I told Ijaz Adu, he used to have a 3-piece suit and a bow tie. And he looked like a guy who just came from Europe or London. So I told the guard he's a junior professor, a pediatric surgeon. So he was allowed, and so all of us. And I remember, and we decided to spread on different table, not to sit on one table. And they said, don't do anything until we have chicken corn soup and chicken tikka. That was the specialty in Intercontinental. So Amanat Ali singing, and Sultan Akbar Ayad on the farther table, Ijaz Adu on one, I on one, Nasir Baz, and couple of other guys on a different tables. You were not there, I don't think so. Any event. Yeah. That's another story about namaz. Dr. Yunus, I had the habit of saying namaz. And when we used to gamble, sometime in his room, at Maghrib prayer, I would say, I have to go. And they will say, what a conflict. You are gambling and then you are reading namaz. That's a coincidental story.
No,
in any event, after...
He used to want to leave when he was winning. And namaz as an excuse.
In any event, when they finished chicken corn soup and chicken tikka, that was the hors d'oeuvres. And they were full. I think Sultan had 3 or 4 of chicken tikkas. And then Ijaz Adu told me, what are we going to do? We came here to protest. So I said, okay, let Amanat Ali finish one qawwali, because there was only one speaker, and that speaker was utilized by the musician. So once he finished this one qawwali, I asked him to give me the mic, please. He thought he is one of the, schlap, the guys who are housekeepers. So I took that speaker and I made the announcement that we are the young physicians, we were not allowed, and we are protesting, and we are going to walk down from here, and we will register our protest in Patiala block, where there are about 30 or 40 tents were all laid on the ground with various samples and whatnot. So the professors were stunned all of a sudden. So now we march down, we have eaten, we come down through the... When I reach Patiala block, one of the protesters is missing. Who is that protester? Can you guess? Sultan Akbar Hayat. Because he went into Park Tea House, the communism discussion and Maulana Bashani's followers, he missed. This guy was nowhere to be found when there was a critical time. So now Ijaz Adu says, listen, in order to register a real protest, I want to burn the biggest tent which is in the center. I said, no, that is not going to happen. Our commitment was a peaceful protest. So he became so angry, he hit one of the lanterns on the floor. He said that, why don't you let me do what I want to do? I said, you can't do it. So as a protest, he hit the lantern, and it fired. The fire was burning, it caught fire. He said, now one tent is on fire. So let's burn all the tents because we have done it. I said, I am not part of it. So I walked out. There were some hooligans who are also gathered, non-doctors. So one tent, there were 30 tents surrounding. They burned all of them. Then there was the next day there was a news that the young doctors protest, the whole drug exhibition burned down to the ashes. That was the Pakistan Times front page. We were called by the disciplinary committee the next day, all of us, and they wanted to interview each one of us personally. So one guy will rat on the other. So everybody was scared of Fajaz Adu, and we looked at each other with the eye. Sultan was not one of them, because he was not there in Patiala block. Anyway, we made a promise that we are not going to rat on anybody else. Luckily, in that disciplinary committee, Professor Alamgir, the big wicks, everybody are furious. SSP Lahore, he said, we are going to suspend your licenses. And we were scared shit because our parents didn't know that.
He thought he was talking about driver's license.
Yeah.
He didn't care less about medical license.
Ran out of time. I'll make it short. In any event, Professor Shafi walked in. Is the ophthalmology, and I was doing house job with him. And Professor Shafi happened to be my father's classmate and his roommate in Amerson Medical College. So he said, "What are you doing here?" And the SSP told him that these guys burned the... He said, no, not these guys. Well, I have 50 cases tomorrow. Why don't you go prepare them? I conveniently walked out. And later on, after the apology, we were given away that your licenses are good. But I have so many other stories, and I want to tell you, the Sultan Akbar Hayat you knew before, it's not the real one.
Those are wonderful stories. Thank you, Rashid. And I'd like to invite Dr. Bashir Chaudhry now, if he would come to the podium.
I want to compliment Bashir while he's walking to the podium. Please continue to walk. Oh, not backwards. That has been my relationship with Bashir, that every time I want to compliment him, he walks backwards. Bashir was going to be my roommate. He's a lucky one that he did not. Please come. And he's also the real life of this whole reunion, because he started that WhatsApp thing, that we got to know each other and created a camaraderie. So please welcome.
Assalamu alaikum. Blessings, blessings, and blessings. I want to tell each one of you, I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you all.
You love us the same way as you love your wife, or what? You said that.
Yeah, I love you. या मुझे याद है मेरा ख्याल है कि 10 या 11 की थी, तो जब हम रियूनियन इकट्ठी करने की कोशिश कर रहे थे, सो लड़के और लड़कियां आपस में कन्फ्लिक्ट था उस वक्त तक एंगर था कुछ लोगों में कि ये लड़के हमें तंग करते थे। ये तो मैंने कहा कि नहीं ऐसी बात नहीं है, उन्हें पता नहीं होगा, शायद एक आध कोई लड़का होगा जो तंग करता होगा, बाकी तो सारे ठीक ठाक थे। तो कहते मैंने कहा कि मैं आई विल से कि आई लाइक यू, और माफ़ी दे दें अगर कुछ गलती है। तो आई सेड दैट एट दैट टाइम आई लव यू। तो यकीन नहीं आया, फिर मैंने दोबारा कहा कि आई लव यू, एंड आई टेल यू अगेन टुडे दैट आई लव ईच वन ऑफ यू, एंड इट्स ओके विद तस्नीम फॉर मी टू से दैट। मेरा निकाह होया है बहुत सारे थैंक यू एंड आई रियली फील ब्लेस्ड। मेरी माँ ने मुझे ब्लेसिंग का एक बड़ा अच्छा सबक दिया था। जस्ट इमेजिन इन 1947 a young girl 22-23 has a child of 5 or 6 months old, and she has to run in the middle of the night with her sister, leaving everything behind, everything. Just one son that she took with her. Later on, इधर जब अगस्ता में वो हमारे साथ थी, तो किसी ने पूछा, हम बातें कर रहे थे, तो पूछा कि aren't you bitter about the India and all these things happened? She said, no, I am so blessed. I took the most precious thing that I needed and took him back with me. That's the only thing, and she was. And that thing is there in my mind all the time. Be thankful for what you have. Don't worry about many things negative that have happened. Things are going to say negative things. That, Baba tells me negative things all the time, as a matter of fact.
I have been teaching him reality.
So very, very blessed. I think you know my story more because I just like to talk or write or something about it. All the scholarships something I have written about my friends. Very blessed to have my roommates. सारों को पता है मेरे जिगरी यार भाइयों की तरह मेरे क्लासमेट सारे के सारे I love you all. तो कई दफ़ा नेगेटिव चीज़ों में भी ब्लेसिंग आती हैं. सप्रू के की क्लास में लोग शोर मचाते थे और सप्रू साहब ये कुछ लोग भागते थे आगे पीछे इंक्लूडिंग हिम. तो सप्रू साहब को गुस्सा आता था और चीज़ें वो करते थे. तो एक उन्होंने कहा कि क्लास में कहा कि मैं तुम्हारे माँ बाप को ख़त लिखूँगा कि ये लड़का शोर मचाता है. ये लड़कियां तो नहीं थे, लड़के शोर मचाते हैं. तो वो छुट्टी में मैं घर गया तो घर में एक ख़त पड़ा हुआ था. तो मेरी माँ ने कहते कि ये तुम्हारा कोई ख़त आया हुआ है. तो व्हाट ए ब्लेसिंग इट वाज. माय मदर डिड नॉट नो हाउ टू रीड इंग्लिश. तो इंग्लिश उसमें ख़त में यही लिखा हुआ था कि तुम्हारा बेटा जो है. आई हैड नेवर डन एनीथिंग रियली इन सप्रूज क्लास. लेकिन वो ख़त आया हुआ था कि उसमें हम इसको एक्सपेल कर देंगे, ये को इसको करो वो करो. तो माँ कहती कि क्या लिखा हुआ है. तो मैंने पहली दफ़ा झूठ बोला. नहीं पहली दफ़ा नहीं, पहले भी बोला होगा लेकिन मैंने झूठ बोला. झूठ बोला. मुझे याद आ गया कर्नल मोहम्मद ख़ान की किताब थी बजंग आमद, शायद आपको याद होगा बजंग आमद. तो उसमें वो जाता है तो घर जाता है, लेफ्टिनेंट होता है. तो उसकी माँ पूछती है तो बेटा तुम जर्नल बन गए हो. तो वो कहता हाँ जी. मैंने कहा कि ठीक है, कहने में क्या फ़र्क पड़ता, माँ खुश हो जाएगी. तो उसने कहा कि हाँ जी मैं जर्नल बन गया. तो उस दिन मैंने भी यही किया. मैंने पढ़ा. मैंने कहा ओ वो मुझे मुबारकबाद का ख़त आया कॉलेज से कि इसने बड़ा अच्छा काम किया है वहाँ पर. तो व्हाट ए ब्लेसिंग इट वाज दैट शी डिडंट नो. आई नेवर टोल्ड हर दैट. तो कई दफ़ा रिग्रेट्स भी होती हैं ज़िंदगी में. मुझे एक जो चीज़ मुझे अभी तक रियली बॉदर करती है कि मेरे फादर की डेथ हो गई थी. आपको सबको ये मैंने सुनाई हुई है. फादर की डेथ हो गई थी. ही वाज 44 years old और दैट वाज ए वेरी टफ years फॉर मी आफ्टर दैट बिकॉज ऑफ द एल्डर्स टू यंगर ब्रदर्स वर देयर. तो खैर जब मैं मेडिकल कॉलेज में पहुंचा तो मेरा ग्रीफ वाज स्टिल देयर. मेरे रूममेट्स ख़ास तौर पे हैं जिन्होंने रियली मुझे अपने भाइयों की तरह रखा सारों ने. दे डिडंट नो माय स्टोरी. आई नेवर टोल्ड देम व्हाट द बैकग्राउंड एवरीथिंग वाज, बट दे वर माय फैमिली. दे आर फैमिली. लेकिन एक चीज़ की जो मुझे रही, सेकेंड ईयर में हमारे क्लास की एक लड़की थी जिसके फादर की डेथ हो गई उस वक्त ना. और I had intense desire to go and talk to her. लेकिन I never could go and talk to her and say that I feel for you. और ये रिग्रेट मुझे अभी तक है क्योंकि मेरे खुद अपनी ग्रीफ इतनी ज़्यादा थी. लेकिन उन दिनों में किसी लड़की से बात करना बड़ा मुश्किल था. हमारे जहन में था ही. मेरे भी बहन भी नहीं थी जिससे हम थोड़ा सा होते. So I want to tell you again, Kamar, I'm so sorry. I wanted to tell you at that time.
Thank you. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I wanted to tell you
But
really.
there were some boys who actually wrote to me.
Yes, but I wanted to, but I never had the courage to tell you that.
That's okay.
तो और भी गलतियाँ की. एक गलती मैं बताता हूँ आपको. हाउस जॉब के ज़माने में वो हमारे प्रोफेसर थे. तो प्रोफेसरों के फेवरेट होते हैं लोग. तो मैं इंटर्नशिप कर रहा था तो वो मरमर हम सुन रहे थे. तो मैंने कहा कि ये डायस्टोलिक मरमर है. तो वो जो मेरा सीनियर हाउस ऑफिस था वो कहता सिस्टोलिक मरमर है. तो वो प्रोफेसर साहब आ गए. प्रोफेसर का वो फेवरेट बंदा था. उनके प्राइवेट पेशेंट वगैरह देखता था सारा कुछ. तो प्रोफेसर साहब ने सुना कि नहीं ये तो सिस्टोलिक मरमर है, तो मैं चुप कर गया, मैंने कहा डायस्टोलिक मरमर है, ये तो लगती है मुझे, मैंने दोबारा सुना डायस्टोलिक डायस्टोलिक। तो किस तरह किया जाए, वो बरकी साहब एक होते थे मेरे बड़े मेहरबान मेरे उस्ताद भी, तो बरकी को शाम को मैं लेके आया, मैंने कहा सुनो डायस्टोलिक मरमर है, मैंने कहा इसको प्रूफ कैसे करना है। इनाम के पास मैंने पता किया कि इनाम के पास एक मशीन है जो कि अभी तक खुली नहीं है। इनाम कहता है कि एक आई हुई है मशीन जो कि फोनोग्राफ वो करती है, रिकॉर्ड करती है, लेकिन खोली नहीं है। तो हमने रात के वक्त वो मशीन खोली, उसको पहली दफ़ा हमने ऑन किया, उसको लेके आए, पेशेंट को मैं लेके आया, उसको रिकॉर्ड किया, डायस्टोलिक मरमर, खूबसूरत रिकॉर्डिंग, पहली दफ़ा रिकॉर्डिंग में अस्पताल में। वो मशीन पड़ी हुई थी पता नहीं कितने सालों से इनके पास। अब रिग्रेट मेरा ये है कि मैंने दूसरे दिन वो राउंड हो रहा है तो करते हुए उसी पेशेंट पे फिर पहुंचे, तो मैंने कहा कि ये देखें प्रोफेसर साहब ये तो डायस्टोलिक मरमर है। देख व्हाट ए बिग मिस्टेक। अब मैं ज़्यादा एहसास होता है कि इस तरह की चीज़ें नहीं करनी चाहिए। इवन व्हेन यू आर राइट यू नीड टू बी केयरफुल। तो अब प्रोफेसर साहब ने वो दूसरे पहले एक दिन पहले वो कह चुके हैं कि सिस्टोलिक मरमर है, कहता हाँ डायस्टोलिक मरमर भी लगती है, ठीक है। दैट वाज फाइन। तो I really feel blessed, lot of blessings in my life. Just imagine a baby whose father was away somewhere and he's brought to Pakistan, no means at that time, or the blessings after blessings. सबसे बड़ी जो मेरी blessing है is right here. इनके बगैर really I am nothing really. So I just brought her here if she wants to say something. Thank you very much for being my classmate. For really, it is a matter of indeed honor for me to be your classmate. Thank you very, very much. You want to say?
I have 1 minute. I haven't prepared any speech or anything, but I feel part of this class because this is the most active class I know, and I have been coming to all your meetings every year, and I feel so close to all of you than I feel to my own class. I'm a graduate of KE 1974. वो क्लास हमारी 73 की थी, लेकिन वो जो delays होती रही उसकी वजह से there is no class of 1973. So we were only 3 years behind, you all. It was an accident how I ended up in KE because my mom, she's a little old-fashioned. She said, the girls, I went to all-girls school, all-girls, college. So she said, you have to go to FJ. तो वहाँ पे दोनों जगह मेरा एडमिशन हो गया था. I went to FJ और वहाँ पे उन्होंने हमारी इतनी दुर्गत बनाई पहले दिन, इंटरव्यू के दिन, कि we had to hide in Dr. Bilkis फातिमा उस वक्त थी वो वहाँ पे जो भी कहते हैं उनकी थी वो principal, yeah. So we had to hide in her room. We just ran into her room, a couple of girls, because they were hazing, they were so bad. Those girls were so rough. तो हमने उसको complain की, वो कहती है मुन्नी, you have to endure this. I said, I'm not enduring this, So I went home and I cried. I said, I'm not going to go to FJ. I'm not going to be a doctor. That's period. If you don't want me to go to KE, I'm not going anywhere. So my mom said, okay, you go and talk to one of the girls. I don't know if you all know Munira Halim. She was best graduate. She was a year behind us. So she was from my school, high school. So she said, you go and talk to her and see how she feels about it. So she is actually responsible for ensuring my mom that she will be fine there. So, so that's how I ended up in KE, and that's how I met, Bashir, of course, at the end. So that's the end of what I have to say.
एक और जो बात तस्लीम ने पहले कह दी कि मैंने कहा कि कोई अच्छी बात मेरे मतलब कह देना। कहती गज़ाला आई थी पहले, गज़ाला सुल्तान के मतलब बातें कर रही थी, लेकिन वो सारी बातें जो हैं वो अप्लाई होती हैं। एंड आई हैव डन ऑल दोज थिंग जो डिस्क्राइब किया। एंड इट इज़ ए ट्रूथ दैट आई डू नॉट नो हाउ टू ऑपरेट ए वॉशिंग मशीन. I do not know how to operate anything basically in the house. So सबसे
The clever thing about him is that when we got married, so I came to Kentucky, and he said all his friends and colleagues would say, "Oh, he's such a good cook. He's such a good cook. He cooks very well." तो जब मैं आई तो इन्होंने मुझे ना जले हुए खाने पका पका के तो खिलाने शुरू कर दिए. मैंने कहा कि ये क्या हो गया एकदम से? Everybody is praising your meals. What happened? So okay, if this is the way I cook, if you want to eat, eat. Otherwise, you cook yourself. और उस दिन से मैं ही खाना पका रही हूँ. He's out of the kitchen.
Maybe I just tell them.
You were roommate for 2 years. I still remember this. He did purpose.
No, he claims that he washed the dishes and you guys were cooking when you all were living together. So he got out of the cooking totally from that day onwards.
Just 1 minute. I also want to appreciate all the people who are involved in making this reunion successful. For this session, there are 2 people I'm really very thankful. First of all, Riaz Baba. Riaz, I have a small gift for you on behalf of my class. You have really done a wonderful job of arranging everything. There's no question about it. The पहले दिन का program और WhatsApp का of the Riaz is we were about to be the roommates लेकिन जितनी WhatsApp की वजह से बाद में इनकी खूबियाँ मेरे ज़हन में आई हैं really. Every day I talk to him. Every day I talk to him, it goes up and up and up and up. So knowledgeable, the witty, the person. So this is this is a small gift. Thank you very much. I know he does not play golf, but this is really the one token of appreciation. Okay.
What Sony लग
सोनी लग रही हैं.
लग रही है shirt.
अच्छा. And Kamar, this is a small gift for you.
I've really not done much.
I know that this is not. and this is not much. And this is not much either. But every time you will wear it, hopefully you will remember your class.
Well,
This is from your class.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you so much.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
कमर बिल्कुल कसर नफसी से काम ले रही हैं. अगर ये ना होती तो आज हम वक्त पे ना ख़त्म कर रहे होते. 2 लोग और रह गए, एक प्रेजेंटर हस्बैंड एंड वाइफ और फिर यूनुस भाई हमारे लिए दुआ करेंगे.
Ijaz Qayyum and Naeem, please. You have 5 minutes. And then Dr. Yunus will say dua. I hope I haven't missed anybody else, or we haven't missed anybody else.
Anybody or everybody that I had.
If we have time, sure. Oh, yeah.
All others, I have been really sending the messages, whoever contacted me. So only Praveen is going to be one more person.
Those sentences.
Assalamu alaikum. Obviously everybody, this sentiment and everybody's feeling is clear that we all want to stay together as long as possible. But I was hoping that Dr. Babar and Dr. Qamar will not ignore me totally.
No way. How would I
I'm
know
just kidding.
you?
I was going to come up myself. But anyway, I wanted to be here for a number of reasons. And so much has been said, and it has blown a storm in my mind, which is starting from the main hostel to the Broom hostel, and before that in FSC. It's not possible to complete all those things here. But there are a few things I wanted to express today, which I'm carrying in my chest and mind for too many years. And some of those people are here, some of them are not here, but I do want to confess and acknowledge something. But before that, Mansoor's point that underage and could not be admitted, and that was going to happen to me in '65, and I said, okay, if I can't get admitted to medical college, I'll go to Army because the war has started. But it so happened they removed that restriction, so I went to the medical college. Then, as far as the acknowledgements, which I want to really do that today, because if you know, when you're admitted to medical college, then you have to be in the hostel, and I being, just imagine, I was underage, a small town person who has no knowledge, never seen Lahore, and what he's like in that big wild thing.
And very good looking.
Thank you. Well, everything has its time. But anyway, I'm in Lahore, and then the time comes for hostel accommodation, and I was on merit list, but it turned out that there were a certain number of merit list people who got the hostel accommodation, and the rest, I came below that, and I didn't get hostel accommodation. But on the other hand, there were other seats and all kinds of other, but I just had no words. I could not do anything. I could not protest. And you're left just in cold. And this is the time where I would call out these people. And I belong to Pindi, and there was people from Rawalpindi, Khalid Riaz, we were in school together, Munir Ahmed, who was in college together, Salahuddin, may God bless his soul, I found out that he's passed away. He was from Pindi. And then Sayyid Anwar, not from Pindi, Burewala, I don't even know where that place was. But these people took me in their room as an additional, and because the hostel manager said that if somebody takes you, you can stay. Because otherwise, I was out on the street. But I want to appreciate you today. That was a big moment for me because I didn't know what to do. And you people let me in your room. And then, obviously, I want to appreciate by name and the other people who are not here, but I want to get this out. And the second thing was Salim Khan, if you know. People will know Salim Khan is such a nice-hearted, generous person. Probably not many people know that. And I didn't know him at all. In medical school, for some reason, he got friendly with me, and he would talk to me. And in fourth year, he told me about ECUMG, and I didn't know what ECUMG was. I didn't even know what to do about these things, and he told me to take this exam. And this is in fourth year. And he pushed me into applying for it. Okay, well, when the time came for exam, I said, I'm not going, I don't know anything, and this is an exam which I don't think I'll pass. He pushed me into this, he took me there, and I took the exam, and that was fourth year, and somehow I passed. And that's where I want to tell you this, that all my life's crux experience is this, that everything I planned myself, it never worked out. And everything Allah Almighty planned, and that's how it happened that I'm here. So I'm thankful for all the blessings, and I'm forgetting things. And I'm glad I have Nahid now, because she can keep on course. So I'm going to let her say the rest of it.
Thank you so much for that appreciation, Ijaz. I'm not going to take too much time, but I am going to say, contrary to some of the other people here, Ijaz is a very good cook. And he is, and I'll tell a brief story because it is kind of interesting. I was a resident, and I was in Cook County Hospital and on call every fourth night, and yet I could not imagine, we are 7 years apart, so he was in practice, everybody was having good parties. Here I was, a resident, no time to cook. So I organized my parties ahead of time, so I would cook things and put them in the fridge and wait for the party. So here there was a party, and everybody came, and I took out everything, I took out the kebabs, and then there's this whole plate of kebabs, and I said, where did this come from? So I had the regular Shami kebab, and then Ijaz had made some fish kebabs. So, okay, so I served those also. So then people asked, I think Nasreen might remember that party. So he said, do qisam ke kebab kyun hai? So so I said, ye Ijaz ne bana diye kebab, I don't know kab banaye. So, and somebody picked up on that joke. So after that, on so many parties, they were like, acha ji, hun Dr. Sahab ne ki banaya? You know, it was such an insult to me. It was like, can't I cook? I mean, why is he getting all the compliments? So from that day on, and Nasreen again is a witness to that, Ijaz is an excellent host, and you should all come to our house and let him serve you. Even if I have two maids now who are totally organized, she's going to serve, she's going to pick up the plates, Ijaz in the kitchen. Kidhar hai, drinks kidhar hai, ye kidhar hai, wo kidhar hai. Bhai, you know, sit down and relax. Don't take care of the not patients, but the guests. And Nasreen says, Nasreen also, she supports me. She says, Ijaz bhai ki aadat hai, na gussa kare. Because I'm like, why is he in the kitchen? So, but anyway, thank you so much for helping me. He's a wonderful husband, a wonderful father, and a good friend. I'm sure all of you can vouch for that. So thank you so much. I feel like I know everyone in this class, and I'm really delighted to have this class as a susral for me. I always said 1970 is my susral. Thank you all.
I just have,
Sultan इनके ससुर हैं.
I like Sultan though. I get you.
excuse me, I just want to make one comment from yesterday. Just a correction, because I don't want any misunderstanding. Yesterday when I presented about the dam, I did not present it as for solicitation or as a fundraiser. That's all covered, it's all paid for, and that was just as an idea to be duplicated or passed on.
You did say that yesterday also.
Okay,
He forgot.
you know, Naid told me that I didn't mention, so
I like to give this for 1 minute to Parveen Zamani, now Parveen Rashid, who's a retired gynecologist, and took a few hours of her time to come here, leaving a sick husband behind. So we are very grateful that you were able to make it.
Thank you very much. I really don't have much to say. I'm not a good communicator. I like to, though, say thank you to every one of my classmates who have actually made with WhatsApp a wonderful way to pass time when you're sitting home and you are kind of a little depressed. You open that up and there's all kind of good stuff in there. Wonderful poetry by Aziz, Amjad Zahir, and some good with Naeem Parvez, and even Sultan Hayat occasionally puts. and some other wonderful, I love poetry, and I have enjoyed Dr. Yunus's poetry as well. I never knew that you have had so much interest in the poetry, which was great, but that's really, and I wish I could have spent more time with everybody, but I came to say hello with my too much going on in my life. Thank you very much.
Really, for the sake of time, we are very, very short. And thank you, everybody, to really put up with our impatience when we were standing right behind you and pacing back and forth even. But you did it a great job. And I want to thank my co-anchor person, Dr. Qamar Jalil, that without her it would not have been possible. And I would like to invite now Dr. Yunus to come and do some dua, and then we'll meet together on the cruise and barbecue.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Nahmadu wa nusalli ala Rasul al-Kareem. Actually, I was waiting to tell my story, but now it's over. The time is over, so inshallah some other time. But just like to appreciate the organizers of this reunion. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless them for such a beautiful occasion to get together and again renew our relationship as brothers and sisters and close friends. And also acknowledge the blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala first and foremost, who has provided us opportunity to achieve our professional degrees and careers, and then be here in the United States as successful in our practices and raise our families. And we also thank our spouses. You know, they have been a great help and companionship to raise our children, and we should always thank them. Although a lot of jokes are made about wives and husbands, but I, for one, am always very appreciative and thankful to my spouse, and I'm sure you are also in your hearts, that how much dedication they have for their families and give birth to our children and take care of them. And this is a great blessing. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Quran, وَجَعَلْنَا بَيْنَكُمْ مَوَدَّةً وَرَحْمَةً إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ لَآيَاتٍ لِقَوْمٍ يَتَفَكَّرُونَ. In Surah Al-Rum, he says that it is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who gave you your spouses, and He put the love and affection between you. And in this, there is a great lesson for those who think. So all the jokes on one side, but the real thing is appreciation that we all have in our hearts for our spouses, and we always should make dua for them, and they should make dua for us. And with this acknowledgement, there was just the last one reminder to me and all of us, and I continue to do that on our forum. I hope that you go through those, and if it's too much for you, you can skip those, but I will continue to share this. I think this is obligation upon us, and it's really the demand and obligation of our love for each other, that we remind each other. We are, as many times we have said on the forum, we are in the last part of our life. We are in the 70s, and who knows who will be with us next time that we meet. So the life is always been short. Many of our colleagues left us in a very young age, and some in the middle age, and so on. So in this short time that at our disposal, we should turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَأَنِيبُوا إِلَى اللَّهِ وَأَتُوبُوا إِلَيْهِ. Turn to Allah, which means turn to Quran, turn to the Salat, and our obligation to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, حقوقullah wa حقوقul ibad, the rights of the people, particularly the Salat. We should be very particular about that and protect it. Okay, inshallah. Yes, we're going to do this. This is the last thing I was going to say, to remind ourselves. I'm not going to give a lecture on this, but I think the short reminder is must. And with that, I conclude and make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, wa salatu wa salamu ala Nabi al-Kareem wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Allahumma rabbana atina fid dunya hasana wa fil akhirati hasanatan wa qina adhaban nar. ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما اللهم إنك عفو كريم تحب العفو فاعف عنا يا غفور ربنا اغفر لنا ولوالدينا وللمؤمنين يوم يقوم الحساب اللهم حاسبنا حسابا يسيرا اللهم حاسبنا حسابا يسيرا اللهم ربنا وقنا عذاب النار وادخلنا الجنة الفردوس الأعلى مع الأبرار يا عزيز يا غفار يا رب العالمين ربنا اغفر لنا ولإخواننا الذين سبقونا بالإيمان ولا تجعل في قلوبنا غلا للذين آمنوا ربنا إنك رؤوف رحيم أنت ولينا في الدنيا والآخرة توفنا مسلما والحقنا بالصالحين اللهم انصر الإسلام والمسلمين في كل مكان اللهم انصرهم نصرا عزيزا اللهم انصرهم في روهينجيا في بنغلاديش وهند وكشمير وباكستان وأفغانستان وفي اليمن وفي العراق وسوريا وفي فلسطين وغزة يا أرحم الراحمين اللهم انصرهم نصرا عزيزا يا الله والله everywhere the Muslims are oppressed and any human being is being oppressed Allah you help and guide them and protect them against the zulm and injustice being done Allah you bring peace and tranquility in all our homes and our homeland. Ya Allah, you help and guide us and solve our difficulties and problems. Bring ease to everyone. Give shifa kamila to those who are suffering with any kind of illness. Allah, you give us iman and taqwa And when you take us from this dunya, you take us in the state of complete iman and taqwa and salih a'mal, ya arhamar rahimin. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا يا مولانا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم وصلى الله تعالى على خير خلقه محمد وآله وأصحابه وآل بيته أجمعين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
यूनुस साहब, मैं आपका शुक्रिया अदा करना चाहता हूँ कि हमेशा शफ़क़त और मोहब्बत से आप सब के लिए दुआ करते हैं, तो तहे दिल से शुक्रिया. तो बशीर आखिरी हैं स्पीकर.
मैं सिर्फ एक्नॉलेज करना चाहता हूँ अपनी होस्ट कमेटी को, जिन्होंने इतना काम किया है. वहीद, इफ़ यू कुड कम ऑन हियर प्लीज़. और यूसुफ इधर आओ ना, उन्होंने देता कुछ वही हेलो. मैं बहुत शुक्रगुजार हूँ हमारी होस्ट कमेटी का. आप भी आ जाएं ज़रा इस तरफ. एक तस्वीर उतरवानी है, सिर्फ एक तस्वीर उतरवानी. और बाबर की तरह, बाबर भी आ जाए. तो ये और राशिद जावेद अगर इधर हैं कहीं पर, राशिद प्लीज़. तो ये आपके सामने खड़े हैं वो लोग जिन्होंने इसको महफिल को कामयाब बनाया. आई एम वेरी वेरी थैंकफुल टू देम रियली. नहीं प्रवेश याद नहीं, नहीं, कम ऑन प्लीज. तो हम अगर कोई गलती हो, अगर इसमें कोई भी गलती हो तो कसूर मेरा है. अगर इसमें कोई अच्छी बात थी तो ये लोग हैं तो सारे जिन्होंने किया. थैंक यू वेरी वेरी मच.